So as Chris mentioned, we're going to walk through and talk about dynamic CRM and how we have integrated that with IFS, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about Astra integration framework. That's the piece, that's the tool that we've used actually to bring both IFS and dynamic CRM together and integrate it. So we will talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about what it does and how it works. So once we have that should probably give you an understanding of how these integrations are going to work. So we will tell you how we have done uh, an integration implementation for some of our clients. We'll probably talk through a sample an implementation that we've done. We'll talk a little bit about benefits, and once we have a good understanding of AIF and the integration, we'll also tell you what you will need to get to get going with this, right? So you're welcome to type in your questions as you get. So I would like to have the flow going. In case if there's something important pops up, then I would be happy to answer it there. Otherwise, we'll see if we could answer them at the end. So so what is this? What is Astra integration framework? So it's basically a tool that we have designed and developed at Astra. So what it does is basically does the data transfer from between systems. It does the synchronization of data between systems, right? So when one of our clients approached us to do this, we built this and we did it so that we could actually transfer their data between the systems. But we actually built it in such a way where a framework exists and you can create what we call as adapters for different systems. These adapters basically tell how you can connect to that system, how you can talk to that system, and plug that adapter into the framework. So that way you can actually have you can start in talking to that framework. You can give data and take data from the framework, right? So on those lines is what we're going to talk today is we have built the adapters for IFS and dynamic CRM, right? So these two adapters kind of plug in to Astra integration framework, and the synchronization starts happening. So how all this is working, what we've developed actually is going to work for you is what we're going to talk today. So what does this do? You must have heard about how what is called as ETL. So this kind of pretty much does something like that, right? So AIF extracts data from a source system. In our case, in this case, it is IFS or dynamic CRM. It kind of transforms data. It prepares data basically to be sent to the destination system where it could be IFS or dynamic CRM, right? So it could be the data could go both the ways. So the adapters are written in such a way to actually consume and send it to the system and bring data out of the system. So the in between step is what we call transformation. That's where we prepare data for the destination system. So you may have scenarios where the destination system, which is it could be CRM or IFS, which will need a value for one of the fields. but that value is not there in the source, so we could actually have default values. So we could uh, in other cases where you're trying to put an order in IFS, but you need the customer ID. Customer ID is in a different database, different entity, so you need to query the customer entity, get the ID, and then put it in the order. So you can query the data. So all of that is transformation. So we could also do transformations uh, like if you have a certain value for a list of values in a pick list, and when you're moving moving that into a destination system, they may be called different, right? So like if, for example, there is payment terms in CRM where we call it as net 30 or something, right? So it could be called differently. The pick list value could be called differently in IFS. All right, so you could change all of them. So all of them can be done inside, and it can be like how you can see here is like I'm using XML. I'll come back to the XML again. We have a data map where there's a value in the source system which is called as INV, which translates to 1, or a source system has a value PKG, it translates to 1. So you have the framework which is drawing the data, transforming the data, and loading the data, and and it can connect to any of the systems where we have an adapter for it. In this case, IFS and CRM, but could be more as well. So what more do we need when we talk about a system where you are moving data between systems? So is to be able to see what's going on, especially you would have taken care of all scenarios in terms of what data types are required, what format is required for the system, etc. But in spite of all of that, you may still have scenarios, situations where records don't move. It could be something new. You may have not foreseen it. So there could be issues, and hence you may need tools to look into what happened. So we can create logs. The system AIFs create logs which will help you to understand what's going on. Like, so it could be at a record level, something's wrong, or ability to connect to any other system, any other, it could be any other system or any other general failures, right? So you have ETL, you have ability to add adapters, and you have a log. So this kind of makes up what AIF is, and I talked to you about how we actually do the configuration, right? So of this AIF. So here is an example of how it is done. So to the right, if you see here, this is an XML that we have. And here you could see that I'm trying to map it at an attribute level. I could say the source is this attribute here, and the destination is this attribute here. So it's a very simple mapping here in this case. The mapping could be complex, where from the source system you're trying to pick something up, and like a currency code, and trying to get an ID for an ID for the currency code, and then trying to map it and send it to the destination system. So it could be simple mappings or complex mappings. So I want to at this point show you an example of one of the. So I told you there are many configuration files in the system, right? So this is one of them. So there is a lot of information here, but I would like you to kind of focus here. So we're trying to tell the AIF that the source system is MSCRM, the destination system is IFS. And what we also have something called as a mapping file, where we are telling this is the place where you can go and find the mapping file, right? So what is part of this mapping file? So when I look at what is part of this mapping file, I I have it's an XML again, and I actually have uh, uh, different entities, so that I'm trying to do 3 entities here. So if you see, the target name is the destination system, so customer info, and from where we are taking the data, what is the key column. You actually pick it up, and you have attributes that are mapping, right? So this is, so we have mapping for 3 different entities here, right? So and the data is going from MSCRM to IFS. Now, while you're picking data, you can actually specify give criterias, like I have here. I have a criteria ID 1 and 2, which needs to be used when we are picking data. Here, I mean, you don't need to know all of this right now. It's just to give you an idea of what this is about. So, so you can say that created on or modified on or after a certain date, right? So that's the criteria that you want to use. It could be something else. You could say that it could be that it should be part of a certain site, or it should be part of a certain company. It could be anything, right? So you could specify those criteria here, right? So I also have something that goes from MSCRM, from IFS to IFS to CRM. So this is one of the samples that I was showing on the presentation there, right? So you have the config, which tells which is the source, target, and where's the mapping file, and you have the mapping file, and we also have something called as an sync manager XML, where we know when was something synced last, etc. It could be extensive. So all of these configuration files are actually going to go uh, into the AIF, and that's what we build when there are new implementations, where we have to integrate systems for which an adapter already exists. So we actually go ahead and build a configuration file, and that's all we do. So we build the configuration file. The AIF loads the configuration file. It knows which is the source system. It knows which is the destination system. It transforms the data, that gets the data, sends it to the destination, and updates the source system saying I've sent it, right? So, or if there is a need to update an ID back into the source system, it does it, right? So this is AIF and its capabilities, and we have used that uh, to implement an integration system for some of our clients, as I mentioned. So here this client actually wanted to ensure that that all the parts that they sell actually have synchronized between Dynamics CRM and IFS. They wanted to ensure that the sales parts that are available in IFS are the ones that are in CRM as well, so that they can sell them, right? So and they also, so that's what is happening here. So we are actually we're sending sales parts information into the products of Dynamics CRM. We are getting sales price lists and sending it into the price lists of CRM. We are So once we have these sale product and price lists, so you could now you could think of now you could think of sending them sending basically when an opportunity is won, you could actually create an order in IFS. So that's what they wanted us to do. So we can create a customer account. An account is transferred as a customer, and an opportunity which is won is transferred as a customer order in IFS. So this is where we used a lot of transformation in terms of default values going into when we are creating a customer in IFS. There is a lot more than what we actually capture in Dynamics CRM. So there is a lot more information that we need. So you could either use XML, or some of our clients wanted to change the dynamic CRM system to incorporate those fields as well, so that when the synchronization actually happens and the customer actually is getting created in IFS, the AIF could actually use that info, right? So we have products in a dynamic CRM using which an opportunity is created. An opportunity is one that goes into IFS as customer orders. Now we can actually send back again saying customer order status going back into CRM as this is what one of the implementations look like. Apart from synchronizing these main entities, main tables, there were a lot of others that needs to be done as well in terms of unit of measurement, currencies. So we had to ensure that all of them are also synchronized to make this work, right? Once we did all of this, what did they get out of it, right? They were happy that their business developers now could actually use the order information that is in IFS and they can see that CRM, right? So they didn't have to give logins to business developers, or the developers did not have to call somebody to get information, right? So the order information was there in the CRM system for them to access. They also tried to minimize what order reentry process into IFS, right? So they actually had approvals. They had further process on before confirming an order in IFS, but the basic information was actually transferred over to IFS from an opportunity that's being won in CRM. So they used IFS, they used AIF, they asked, we built the XMLs for them in terms of configuration, and this actually happened really quick when compared to say writing your custom scripts, doing it all by yourself, or basically using another ETL tool, right? So because the adapters were there for these two systems, and it saved a lot of time for them. It saved a lot of custom development time. The implementation was really quick. So you understood what, I mean, at a very high level, what AIF is. You've understood their adapters that we've created for, and they exist with us. You could use them. So what do you need in terms of what else do you need to get started with, right? So you I've probably kind of oversimplified it. All that we need. So the AIF is actually created using .NET, and it is built using C#, right? So you can actually deploy this on any Windows machine, and um, and and schedule using the Windows scheduler on when you want to run it, uh, uh, and that's about it. So there is no other ETL involved, no other software involved, nothing, right? So that makes it simpler. So what versions can these adapters talk to? IFS 7.5 onwards, 8.0, 9.0. When it comes to dynamic CRM, we can we have adapters for both online and on-premise. So 2011, 2013, 15, 16. I think the .NET framework changes for these on-premise DLLs, on-premise systems with dynamic CRM. So this is all you need. You need to ensure that your IFS version is one of these, and you've hopefully you're not too back to in terms of you're not using CRM4 or something. Uh, if once you have this, then get us a Windows machine and we can get started. So I mean, it's as simple as that, right? So we will build the configuration files for you once we have a chat and spend some time in terms of how you want to do it. Uh, so and that's about it, right? So I I, I, I I've covered what I wanted to show you, what I wanted to tell you, right? So I, I thank you guys for making time and coming over here and giving us time to show you what we had to show. So Chris,
Yes, if you
do
have
you
any,
have any questions
yes, if you have any
that we should be
questions,
answered?
now would be a good time to type them into the questions box and we can go ahead and get those answered. One that was asked, Venu, was, is the synchronization in real time or scheduled?
It's scheduled. It could be near real time, but not really real time. No.
When you say near real time, how close have we gotten it down to?
Well, it basically depends on a lot of other parameters in terms of how long one synchronization could take. You could actually schedule it to run every minute. There's no limitation as such, but we may not want the scheduler starting off every minute, etc. So we may do it like 15-minute ones or 30 minutes ones, but it's not real time. So nothing goes into CRM, nothing goes into IFS. So this system sits outside of IFS and CRM and tries to pull data and push data into those systems. So it doesn't work when somebody pushes the save button in IFS or in CRM, right? It doesn't work that time. So it can be configured to work every 15 minutes, and that's where it picks up all the latest changes and goes and deposits in the other system. Hope that answers the question.
Perfect. Do we have any other questions today? Looks like we have a couple more just popping in here. Is it just transferring data to the database, or does it use the IFS APIs to add the data?
IFS APIs.
The IFS APIs. And the question is, how is the conflict is resolved? Is what one of the questions is.
So I think I'll need to know a little more about what kind of conflicts you're talking about. So obviously, if there are integrity constraints that are violated, so you may not be able to save data onto the systems. So at that point, systems will generate an error. So we actually catch them and put them into the logs so that you can come back and review and rerun it again. So that's one of the possible situations. And with respect to what other conflicts could be, I really need to know a little more about which conflicts you're talking about. Maybe we could talk after this if you want to, and yeah, we can probably get you an answer.
Yeah, the update was update conflict between CRM update and IFS update.
Update conflict between CRM update and an IFS update. So we choose which is the XMLs act the configurations actually define which is the master, right? So you for us given data, right? So you don't want a scenario where both systems are updated and they're trying to overwrite each other, right? So the XMLs clearly define where to pick the data from and where to push it to, right? So I mean that that's what tells what is the master. So I guess that's probably what was intended to be known.
All right, the next question is the integration just between IFS and CRM, or can it be done with IFS and other systems, and how long would that setup take?
Okay, that's a good question. So as I mentioned, it can be between different systems. AIF is developed using the adapter framework, where you can create an adapter and plug it in, and that's how the system works. Now, so this other system that the gentleman is asking could be, we need to look into that system. There are a lot of dynamics involved. How does this system accept inputs, give out data? Does it have web APIs, or does it have database access, how we want to integrate with it? So it purely depends on that. And uh, I mean, we can work with you to understand this other system better, and that may actually give a right number to you. It doesn't take a long, but I would still want to talk to you about which this other system is, and how we can push and pull data from that system.
Perfect. Um, you said the gentleman, and it was a lady, by the way,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Stanisha.
Venu. All right, I think that is all the questions. I'm not sure if we have any other ones. Last questions coming in. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. We recorded this session. I will email it to everyone as well in case you'd like to refer back to it or share it with some colleagues. But again, thank you so much for your time, and we hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you for joining our webinar.